send the link?
Of course I did.
Well, it should be in my email then. I just haven't.
Do you want this?
Okay. Oh, that's what. Okay. There you go. That's easier to just if they go open first.
Recording in progress.
Well, you did that.
I did do that.
I know, but an echo, it was great.
Yeah, it's
I think
because
it's
this
serious.
thing, you know, unless I have everything turned off. I'll take notes away.
Remember Chevy Chase and he was like,
Not hearing anything. I don't want to hear.
I'm all set, I'm ready for you. Yep, it is, 5:50.
All right, everybody. It is 6 o'clock. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Woodstock Planning Board for April 16th, 2026. And do we have any updates?
We do not.
We have the minutes from March 19th. If everybody's okay with them.
Motion to approve minutes?
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, scheduled business. We have some sketch plan review. The first one is Mia Knight Street LLC, which is a sketch plan review of wetlands and watercourse permit application to install an access driveway within the R3, R5 scenic overlay zoning district located on Hidden Valley Trail in West Dogwood Road. Rep, you guys up already, Ryan?
Yes.
All right, so if you want to please tell the board what we're proposing.
Can I have your name?
Yes, my name is Craig
Thank you.
Wallace, W-A-L-L-A-C-E.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Give me share.
Thank you. Keep going.
So I represent the applicant on this driveway permit application on his property, which is approximately 62 acres, located on West Saugerties Road, which is a county road. The property is currently vacant land, and it's located in North Rear Fire Zoning District. The application for this board is a wetland permit, and he's going to be putting in a approximately 450-foot long driveway, which traverses a stream that the driveway has to go over, and it actually ends right around where the stream is located on his property. Mr. Perusian is the owner and currently uses this property with his family exclusively for recreational use to get to the to various hiking trails that are located in the proximity of the property. Does not plan to improve the property. He plans to actually keep using the property for that use. So the property is very small as a result. He also plans to use that driveway for invited guests, and he has no immediate plans to develop it in the future with any permanent structures. Just be a permeable surface type of forest, you can see from the plans that keep it green.
there. This is your flagpole, right?
Correct.
And this is a stream that was mapped by Hudsonia. I don't know if it's intermittent or not. So you're going up to about there? You're only going into here?
100 feet past the stream crossing to enable him to turn a vehicle around and come back down.
Okay, so
That's it.
somewhere around in here, and then
Correct.
you'll hike up the rest of it. Boy, that's a pretty steep piece of property.
There's logging roads, existing logging roads from years gone by.
Mhm.
They traverse where the dashed blue dotted line is.
Yeah, that's a marsh up there. What
Yes.
do you mean this?
No. I'm sorry. It would be the thick red line. That's
Yeah, the
that is,
thick red line is steep,
that's a sheer
greater
face.
than 25.
Yeah, that's a sheer face.
Right.
So the logging road kind of meanders around that all the way to the left, right to the exact property line, then goes back up.
Mhm.
Almost follows that single red line that seems to be in the middle.
Yeah,
That zigzag.
that's a very steep.
So as far
These are all
as the
contours.
stream crossing itself,
Yes,
did you have to, what class stream is it? Did you have to get DEC permit?
we have a letter.
We have a letter.
From the DEC.
jurisdiction, yeah.
And have they approved an appropriate culvert or crossing or whatever they've approved?
They've actually,
Said no
made
jurisdiction.
they have no jurisdiction. So it doesn't even.
Yeah, it's just one of Hudsonian map. It's not one of theirs at all.
So I mean, basically, it's the best management practices for crossing streams from DEC. And preferably, they like to keep the stream bottom intact.
Yes.
So you either use an oval culvert that you have stream bed under it, or a three-sided culvert to go over it.
Yep.
You know, it's
All the neighboring houses actually have to cross the stream and they have, culverts, pipes.
they're already in there, now there's already culverts in there.
So there's one of them. That's your neighbor. And I don't know if there's another house, but I don't know if there's anything over there. There shouldn't be, because that's wetland, but there's another house. Property lines are not accurate on this map.
So the property, the current subject parcel is a flat lot, as you can see. So there's only a very limited. You can actually put this driveway in place, and he's actually chose the flag part of the, I'm sorry, the whole part of the as the corridor to put his driveway in. And it's the best grade. There's only a slight grade from county road as it goes up.
Yeah, this is 20-foot contour line, so it's not actually well within your
That's
property.
what I'm talking about that.
And it's the best location for this particular driveway. And like I said, this is not going to be an improved property. It's just going to be kept vacant land, which is important. The letter from DEC about the jurisdiction that their office is quite significant. The minimal slope is, you see that slope driveway and the materials that are vulnerable. There should not be a large impact on some of the control erosion type things into neighboring properties or into other areas that disturb. The proposed disturbance is actually small scale as well. After the driveway is constructed and plants areas that will disturb back to
Horse grass.
I see you got the letter from DEC saying there's no wetlands, it didn't mention the stream, but either way, I can see that you're doing the culvert with the
With the material on the bottom.
side, so
Yes, yes.
it meets Woodstock's standards. DEC is a little out of commission right now anyway, so. So as long as it meets our standards, which I'm sure which shows that it did. I don't know, board members have any other questions about it?
Oh, my only question is, since we know that the property lines, as I get them on these maps, are not accurate. It does show that it's going into the wetland buffer, but that may not be in fact where the wetland is, because,
Well, DEC said they said there isn't.
yeah, but we also have Hudsonia delineated areas that are subject to Woodstock rules, even if they're not DEC identified. And that's really why I'm asking the question.
Yeah, as you know, the whole DEC situation
The next
is up in the air. They claim to trump our laws, but they don't right now. They can't do anything. So our code is what we're going to use.
Well, that's the only reason I'm asking the question, because it does show about wetlands moving around, and that map was done a while ago. I don't know for sure that this flagpole that it shows on my map is exactly where it is, because I never know that. County maps.
Like I say, DEC is signing off on anything right now. They're just
So do we need any delineation in terms of where that driveway is going?
not if Wood said no. I mean, he's the wetlands inspector. So if he didn't call for it, he called for the culvert, which has to meet our specs. Since they're replacing it,
There's nothing there now.
it's already a done deal.
I was gonna respectfully ask the board to consider waivers.
Yeah, it's here for the wetland and water course permit for an NK with due diligence.
The board members have any other questions? Otherwise, I suggest we wait for the review. It's basically replacing the culvert. Obviously, the DEC doesn't deal with the price.
Should there be a better culvert than this now?
There is no culvert.
Oh, there is no,
There's
it's
never
going right through the stream?
I'm sorry?
The driveway right now is going right through the stream.
There is no driveway. There's existing logging roads from.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's a ford or something.
Yes, yeah, a ford of this big. Literally.
All right, so we'll wait for the review.
Do I hear a second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
So at the next meeting that we have, which is a little ways away, the board will vote on the resolution and we'll wait for the review and get back. We just gotta finish up with some final plans, get them signed off from here, and then work on getting the wetlands workforce permit so you can continue working with the building department, wetlands inspector.
Fire.
Well, no, not at all. This is, they wait for the review, so no. And, you know, it's final plans, best practices within the resolution and $350 final bill. And next meeting, I will email you guys, I can give you that date, but I can't. May 7th, that's one of these, May 7th.
Appreciate the board's time.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, our next sketch plan review is Jane Billing and Louis Saltine, and it's for Wetlands and Water Course permit 26064. It's a sketch plan review of Wetlands and Water Course permit application to construct a trail staircase to the Stockfield Stream in the R5 zoning district located on Keep Hollow Road. And Joseph, you're presenting it?
Yes.
All right, this is an interesting one. To show the board what you got. We have never had one of these before.
Which stream are you putting it on? This one down in here?
The Stock Hill.
Yeah.
The one off.
Oh, the big,
Yeah, the
the
main.
big, okay, with all that steep stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be more lower, like kind of after the dog leg. So, yeah, so I'm representing my client Jim Dilling. They asked us to provide access to a stream that they just purchased in parcel, and we're trying to figure out how to get down to the stream for them. They want to use it personally. They don't want it to be like a public or have an easement on it. And we originally tried to do a stone step staircase, which is more common in the trail world, and the rise and run were just going to get too steep, so that we decided to try to elevate the stairs using a timber and steel construction. And kind of where we're at right now. It's a concept phase. We're talking with our engineer in Vermont was gonna provide us with the steel specs, and we would veneer the steel with a black locust. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. Now we're just applying for permits.
I saw the plans that you got, it looks like it's gonna be well attached to the
Yeah,
bank, so it won't wash down the creek.
We're either gonna adhere it to a stone. The base of the creek has exposed bedrock, and we were gonna pin to the bedrock. And then we would have to dig a footer up near the top, and then we wouldn't have to disturb much of the bank. So we're trying to span as much as possible.
Stay above it.
Stay above it, yeah.
Have you applied to the DEC at all for?
Yeah, I'm waiting on permitting right now.
Well, we need that too, so.
Yeah,
That is absolutely easy.
oh yeah,
Question.
But, I saw the plans, it looks doable.
So as soon as you get an answer from DEC, get it to me. We'll
okay.
go from there, right?
Yeah,
Do you wanna do
yeah.
anything else?
Yeah,
Or we might as well wait and see what the DEC says.
you answered the question right away, but it's just for private use, right?
Yeah, it's just private. They just bought this piece of land and they just want to have access to it, but right now the pitch is too steep to get down safely, so.
So you're gonna come back with, the DEC?
Okay,
Okay, so be in touch with me as soon, I know they're on their whole whatever, but we'll be in as soon as we can and talk over it.
okay, wonderful.
All right, thank
very
you.
much.
Okay, we're hard on the wetlands today, folks. Okay, the next one is David Haynes and Oliver Dresser. Wetlands, Woodstock permit 26-065. It's a sketch plan review of a wetlands and watercourse permit application to construct a driveway with a stream crossing in the R3 zoning district on Maury Hill Road in Woodstock. And just to let the board know, this is that one that there's a subdivision and one lot was in Woodstock.
Yeah, I actually called Melissa about that, because I was like, what? You know, and then I realized it was that extremely, the west side of that subdivision map.
Yeah, what they're doing is going into Maury Hill, that across the creek to get to their
That
side.
particular lot, yeah.
This is a national wetlands inventory stream. That's where I get the map from, so it almost certainly is DEC also.
David has contacted DEC and they're in the process of, right?
Of getting the JD,
Yeah,
yeah, they weren't able to provide me with that yet, they said it would take a couple weeks. I have been in this, you know, the process of getting the subdivision done for some time now. I believe you all have the stream crossing design and the soil erosion and sediment control plans.
Beautiful.
I actually saw the soil plans, I did not actually see the stream crossing, but again, it's best management practices,
Yeah, there's a pretty extensive SWIP that Megan Buckingers and Carr put
I
together.
saw that, yeah. Didn't show the culvert specifically, but
It's a 36-inch, 24-foot culvert. It is, you know, there's no way to access the back of the property without crossing the
Clearly
street
not.
at some point. I think there's a pretty clear point as to where
And you can see where
that
it
spot
goes,
is.
the photograph shows it.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know what class that stream is, I doubt it's a class A, but, if it is, DEC has a time frame on what.
Right. So I spoke to DEC a while back, like at the beginning of my research, and they seemed to think that it was not a DEC regulated stream. What was the quote that you just said?
It's on the National Wetlands Inventory.
National Wetlands Inventory. Okay, so one thing I do know is that the wetlands start on.
Yeah, they're
The
not
next
necessarily
property.
wetlands, wetlands and streams are all.
Right.
are
So the
all
creek
in
is pretty
inventory.
narrow through my lot, and then it widens out on my neighboring, if
You
you're
can
looking at
really,
the screen. it's
you
the
can
one
really
up.
see it if I turn off the, I mean, you can see that it's a skinny, but it's a narrow,
Yeah,
probably fairly steep, there's some steep.
So if DEC
Yeah.
decides that that you don't need them at all, they will give you a letter stating that there's no jurisdictional determination for them. So we do need that to
that is
move
what
forward
we
because of
really
your
need.
state.
Yeah.
But
So
either way,
it's
it'll
up to
go
Amy, I
to,
think,
yeah, our standards, so.
Amy, that sounds familiar.
Can I ask a question?
Call her again.
I will.
You mentioned the subdivision, this is, I think, right on the edge of the town boundary, right?
It is, it is.
Kingston and
So,
here.
so I actually
On
own
the other
27
side.
acres there, and the Kingston Woodstock town line runs right through it. As currently stands, there's 3.5 acres in Woodstock and 22.5 in the town of Kingston.
And you're trying to subdivide this part of it out.
I'm trying to do a subdivision of the whole 27 acres, which is
Right.
4 buildable lots, but only one of them is in Woodstock. And I'm
Right.
trying to add approximately 2 acres from the Kingston side to the back side of this land to make more room for the house and make it a more substantial lot.
That makes sense.
Just, and mainly because if you look on the map, there's this like sheer rock ledge at the back of the property. It's just impassable, and it just wouldn't make much sense for that to be owned by somebody on the Kingston side. It just,
Oh, it's over here.
it's
I
like
did not-
a
I can see
clear
it.
delineation of
Yeah.
a lot.
I haven't mapped that, which is why you don't see a bright red line, but it looks like it's probably.
Yeah,
right here.
it's like sheer and impassable. And that portion is in Kingston. So apparently the lot used to be all one lot. But apparently before I purchased it, they made it into 2 because of the town boundary. It's probably for tax reasons. Kingston gets their taxes and looks like it's theirs, but
Yeah,
the true, in my, just development experience and experience, it just seems like the more
the property line on the.
reasonable lot line
Sure.
should be at this impassable ledge. But what we're really here is for the stream crossing, correct?
Yeah, as far as that goes, regardless of what the EC
Yeah.
says, we have our own code, and which is the wetlands inspector. And will surely approve the crossing.
Okay.
As I said, best management practices usually involve keeping some stream bed inside the culvert system.
Yeah, he detailed that in the driveway design. I think it's a 36 by 24 inch culvert. It says it's 12 inches set into the existing stream bed.
Yeah.
So we can't really do anything till we hear from DEC. And then it's gonna be
I mean,
straightforward.
it's gonna go under our code regardless. If DC says they don't care, it still has to go under our code, so.
Indeed.
So
is
if which
the
is
driveway
approved, if which is
design that I
approved,
submitted, is that sufficient for Woodstock?
Yeah.
As long as DEC jurisdiction.
I mean, if they do, which would be, if it's a registered trout thing or whatever, there's a time limit we can work in it, so. I doubt that's the classic.
No, it's definitely, no, it's not navigable.
So we can, do the same thing, I guess we have
That's
to
what
wait
I
on the
think,
DEC
right?
letter.
So let me know when you get something tangible
Yeah,
from DC either way,
yeah.
and then we'll bring you back.
What did I
And
hear you
just discuss.
saying in the earlier meeting about what's going on with DEC? What is
There's-
something?
The DEC created a whole new wetlands of water stream laws in the first of this year, all brand new. All wetlands now can be DEC, any wetland, it used to be 12.4 acres.
Okay.
Now it can be anything, except the Supreme Court, the New York State Supreme Court killed the whole bill.
Okay.
So they annulled it, because they said they didn't do secret correctly. So
That's
DEC is a
pretty
little
new.
out of the picture until they sort that out.
Okay.
But
I'm just gonna try to track down this.
So
kid.
we got as tough rules as they were
We
trying to
do.
put in
We
place.
do.
we do. So we might need to just up one of the drawings for exactly what culvert you're gonna put in. I think it's on
I
there.
did submit a
I think it's on there,
specific driveway design that shows the culvert.
but we'll make sure, and,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
so
saw
we'll
that.
get you back, we'll talk about it,
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, if you need my help, just so you know where I am.
Yes. Right. Is that it?
That's it.
That's it.
First meeting, welcome, we'll see you next time.
All right, we'll see you next week.
All right, and last but not least on our water course permits is Roger Rosen and Nancy Allison. And it's a sketch plan review of wetlands and water course permit application to dredge an existing pond in the R5 scenic overlay district at 343 and 345 Still Hollow Road. Doug,
I'm Doug Eastern.
I know.
That must be this, but there's really anything. So, I don't know, that's a wetland.
Want to tell the board a little history?
I'm going with the building inspectors that's why you need to be here. Although the code actually says you can improve existing ponds without a permit.
Well, but it is a trout stream, so I got a permit from the DEC.
You did.
And
Uh-huh.
we've done this pond, actually, my father and I did it 55 years ago. And then Mike Stock and I did it 25 years ago. So it's the same, we're doing it the same way. This stuff here.
And it's up here, the one end is walking around.
Yes. It has a drain in the dam, and we drain it down and pump the water around. The only thing gets a little tricky is it has to be done in dry as can be. So,
Does it ever run completely dry?
no, but it gets real low, so we can manage the water.
You stock it with anything?
No, you'd be surprised if you go upstream, there's little tiny minnows in there, and in the past, they come right back. It's amazing what comes back that fast.
Yeah, I think this really came to us just more preliminary because it went to DC. Like, he's doing everything the right way, he has the DC permit, so kind of with Woodstock, since he has the DC permit and it's wetlands and water course, kind of conjunction, better safe than sorry.
Are you taking material out? You have to remove it.
It's a combination, there is a spot in the back where we can
What's
lose it, yeah. So whatever's easier at the time. And I met with Brian Drum twice, and, because he's been there before when we did it. So it was pretty cut and dry.
Or not dry?
No, well, no.
Not too dry. Just
Yeah.
cut. All right. Well,
He
again,
did say, you were talking about, I did get a notice that they're coming out with, they've changed their rules. I just went to a meeting, with the watershed people up in Hartville. And the DEC said they were changing things, but they were actually coming out with a new general permit that'll be quicker, possibly.
mhm. Yeah, that would come under a general permit.
Yeah.
Well, board, unless you have questions, I would say we can wait for the review again.
So moved.
Good luck.
So and then at our next meeting, May 7th, we'll just approve a resolution and then we'll just finalize everything.
Right.
Okay.
Didn't
Do
I-
you want a time crunch for this?
Well, yeah, to get it. just
So
in
if I
case.
have a resolution approved May 7th, is that too late?
Oh, no, I don't see us getting in there till June, July,
All
August.
right,
when
perfect.
it's
And
wet.
you and I can work together to clear it out. I just didn't want to hold you up because I know
No.
there's a time limit.
I don't see that happening.
All right, perfect.
No.
And my office is at the end of the hallway from you, I think.
Very good. Thank you.
All right, Dougie, that's a good one. Up in the mountains.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, folks,
There were a lot of them.
here
Oh.
we go. Homesick Blues.
Pat, pat, pat. Oh, I gotta make a motion. Joseph Vessio is recusing himself because he's working on this project and he's going to the other side of the table.
Okay. So it's a site plan review, especially use permit application, for redevelopment property in the zoning district located at 5 Library Lane in 100 Street. Ron is going to present it to us. All right, Ron.
Everyone.
Okay. the project attorney, Barry Metabach, Lizzie Van. We're here for Lizzie's project over on Tinker Street, which I'm sure most of you know something about. We have a couple of applications before we go to site plan review for the project. Those are for special use permit for the residential uses that are anticipated. We also submitted a full environmental assessment form. This is a type 1 action under TWECA, the town of Woodstock environmental law. It's an unlisted action under SECRA. And we also have an application contemporaneously before the town board with respect to a request that we made for a minor zoning map amendment to accommodate the mixed use that we plan to intend creating with this project, and also to allow certain retail uses on the property. That being said, I'll turn this over to Lizzie to present some more information about the project and what the vision for the project is.
Well, good evening, and I'm not sure how much you want to hear about it really. I can do the short version and the long version. You want the long version? Okay. All right. Yeah, why not? We're one of them.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. So these are iconic buildings. As far as Woodstock can be said, have iconic buildings. These are iconic buildings, or beloved buildings for this town. The library, which everybody has used, and the funeral home, which most people have been to. And just adjacent to that, we've got 106, so the little corner on the bottom left there, that is 106 Tinker Street, which we purchased at the end of this.
I haven't got those added to this, but
They are
there's the
possible.
library.
Yeah,
There's the library lawn,
yes.
and these two properties you're also,
Just the one.
Just the one.
Just
Just
that
this
one
one.
there, yes, which is 106.
okay, so I can go back in this way then.
And you really want the long story. I've always wanted to tell the history of Woodstock. You know, I came here because at the age of 14, I fell in love with Janis Joplin in England, and I thought, I want to go wherever she was. So eventually I found myself in Woodstock, and it's such an amazing town. I've lived here for 15 years. It's a very special town, and I wanted to tell the story of it. So you know about Bearsville and how we've tried to tell the story of Bearsville, but that story about just the musicians and just the music lovers, that story gets told. But then Woodstock itself and the art colony and the history of this town, even its agricultural background, its industrial background, are really interesting to me. So one day I was driving down Tinker Street on my way into town, and I looked at the Lasher property, and I knew about the controversy with the library, which I'd always stayed right out of, and I knew about the controversy with Lashers when Woodstock Way had tried to make another development there. And I just thought that would be a great place to both tell the story and do something substantial for Woodstock. So I'm not going to make the story so long and tell you about my personal philosophy, but I really think Woodstock would benefit from having some economic dynamism, which I know can sound scary, but to my mind, I think it would be great to have more jobs in town. So up in Bearsville, we went from, when I purchased that, there was only Radio Woodstock there and the Little Bear. Little Bear employed 6 people. Radio Woodstock kind of came and went. But today there's over 50 people employed there. In the restaurants, in the theatre, in the recording studio, and we've also got housing there, but well, affordable housing, but low cost housing up there as well, for probably a dozen people, maybe more than that now.
You've already done?
There were houses there that we renovated.
Oh, okay.
And the Peterson House, big grey house on the
Right.
front, that now houses 4 people on the second floor. So everything, you know, and we've got the Wilson House and then that other suite. So I've always been really keen on housing for local people that's affordable. I've always kept to that rule that somebody taught me once, I think it might be Kai from Ulster County, that nobody should pay more than 30% of their income. That's the standard for their housing. So I always go through with people when they apply and keep to that. We can flex the rent to do that. I've even been able to reduce the rent for somebody who gets into difficulties. So certainly during the pandemic we did that. So, great for me, but nonetheless, this is, I just want you to understand the philosophy behind this is that I love this town. I'm British and I've been here for 4 generations, just for 15 years, but I still want to do something good for the town. And it seems to me that these buildings here are being, they're just dilapidated, they've not been used. The funeral parlour has been empty for 3 years and the library for just under a year now. So I came up with this scheme. I'm a developer. I made my own money by creating an organic baby food company in the UK, and came to America and created a green village down in Florida that's net zero energy and the building standard LEED, the platinum LEED standard down there. And then came to Woodstock and thought, there's something amazing we could do here. If we could do those same environmental standards, or maybe different, because these things always move on. There's now passive house standards that are much more dominant now, where we don't have to put much energy in because we super insulate the building, or we use ground source heat pumps to control their temperature variability. So taking into account the fact that there's a need for housing and that there's an opportunity to make better quality housing for people that don't afford big, expensive houses, and I really want to see economic dynamism. It seemed to me, don't know how I came up with this idea. Like, put all the ingredients in the pot here and make some soup, okay? Let's have some workspace that will bring more jobs into Woodstock. Let's have some affordable housing, but use it as a template. So share all the information. What did the land cost? What does the building work cost? What is the rent that's being charged? What are people paying for their electricity? Basically the whole kit and caboodle, so that other people in the Hudson Valley, other builders, other specialists can come and think, wow, green affordable housing. So housing where the electricity bill is maybe $100 a month, maybe the rent is certainly within that 30% line for people that are on low income. So let's do the housing, let's do the sustainability, and let's do economic dynamism. So we've been looking at it, and it's almost a bit sort of back to front here, looking at the lot and thinking it would be great to use these buildings in this way. So the Victorian house at the front, the Peterson family used to live in, we've done a short-term job there where we've put it in good order, and we have 2 families living there. Just while we wait to renovate it, that brings in a little bit of rent for paying the property taxes and insurance. But the idea is that that continues to be residential, but we'll do a much better insulation job on it over the next couple of years when we get permits and everything. 106, which is a house, a 2-apartment house, bottom left, that was owned by the Petersons and is now just no
I'm
rental
gonna turn
housing.
off the zoning thing for a minute.
Yes.
You can see it a little better. So that's this house.
Yes, and it's kind of been neglected over the years. It's certainly been put in better order. We would like that and the space just to the north of it, that dark green space up there, to be our housing showcase. Within that yellow energy, so in there.
A lot of this is the shadow from the trees. That looks
Oh,
like
right,
the
okay.
pines. This stuff is always shot in the winter, but this here is probably empty. It's
Yes,
probably just
yes.
under each other.
So that is the housing showcase. The Victorian house is also housing, and behind the library on the right, at the north, there's the old book barn. We just get a book sale
That's
there.
this, right?
Yes, and the garage. We think that would also work really well as local housing. At the moment, we're debating whether or not we would take the footprint and build up, or we would take the existing structure and build underneath it. And it all comes down to the quality of the building and the quality of the foundation. So we're looking at that. So that's the housing piece, which would be a very transparent piece of property. Joseph, did I cover everything? So this is, Joseph is working on this. The library itself and the 2 lasher barns. So the northern lasher barn was used for agricultural use. There's a bunch of teamster horses that used to go up and down Tinker Street, harvesting the apples and other agricultural work. And then the front barn was where they housed the funeral cars. We think those 2 barns would be great as commercial buildings, used potentially for an entrepreneurial centre, which I will personally fund, so that we will be able to get people that want to start businesses and want to bring jobs.
You're
into
talking about an incubator?
An incubator, yeah, a business incubator, and a shared space there. Possibly the front barn with the big concertina doors that you see as you drive down, and it says Rose Antique Exhibit. That could become a store. That's one of the ideas there. And just to the right of that, I would like to put a social space for children, maybe a natural playground for children, and a cafe. So if you see, there's actually an acre in front of the property that's
over here.
yes, down there, that I see as not a public park, because it's not public land, but a park that the public can go to, where the children can go and play, and it's just a really beautiful space. Just to divert a little bit, there are 50 trees there. No, there are 24 trees, native trees that we have been over with Michael Vetch. We're going to plant another 50 trees. So this is going to be very tree filled. Some of them are going to be heritage apples in guilds, to just remind people that this was an agricultural area, still is really, if you think about Longmere Farm, and just have those there in the public area. And the library is, we are talking to a company that is a well-known company in this area and very liked, and we would like them to use the library space. If they do not want to use the library space, I would hope to hear by tonight, but I haven't, then that could be used for other things.
That's basically retail.
Could be retail, or if it was zoned retail. It could be the pharmacy, our idea of putting the pharmacy in a healthcare centre there. So that one, like I said, I'm doing this back to front. You know, most developers will go in knowing who's going to go in a space, and they'll build it to suit them, and they'll build it to their price point. I'm just trying to get this piece of land into order so that we can do these different things here. And at every step along the way, we're going to consult with, obviously with you guys, but also with people in the town. I think you will have seen that if you talk to people around town. We've had open days, we've had people invited in, we've had, we were thinking about actually having a formal advisory board, but it's just seemed a bit too really. So instead we're going to do monthly tours of the property with talks about things as they go through, and invite people to come along and talk about it. So that's a kind of sort of broad brush view. My colleagues here are much more technical about things. They can tell you about all the different issues that come up.
Sure.
Because I'm seeing you talking about all of those things, which are wonderful. But you can have affordable housing, you can have retail, you can have other centers. Are you taking that parking lot that we see back there and creating a parking lot, or is there going to be
Yes.
any parking? Because
There's going to be
of
parking
everything
at the
that's
back.
going on?
We'll get to that.
Oh, okay. Okay, so-
We're trying to site the parking at the back.
You got that?
Let me just point out a couple of things. So right there is where it's a split lot right there.
I'm gonna put the
Can you
zoning
put the
back
zoning
on.
back on? Yeah.
There we
Yeah.
go. See, the back part is town residential, the front
Residential.
part is town commercial.
Right, now that lot that's adjacent, the green lot that's connected to the library lot is subject to a conservation easement. We can't do anything with it. It stays green forever. And that's really part and parcel of the library lot.
Oh, the place where the laundry used to be.
No.
Right in
You
front of the
got it right,
library.
just
Oh,
south of the library.
right, right
the
there.
lawn, library lawn, the lawn. Okay.
And the other thing I want to point out too, which is very important in terms of us being before the planning board, is this project is totally aligned with the 2018 comprehensive plan. If you look at the comprehensive plan, this follows it quite well and really complements what's trying to be achieved with that plan. That's very important to take into consideration.
Where's the new zoning line going to be, along the top of the?
Here.
The whole property would be.
Wrap around the
So,
top, the
okay,
top
so
line.
it would be the library and it's, and then all the way around the back here,
Yes,
that's what I was thinking.
So it's moving that line that switches from commercial to residential 150 feet north at the most.
Yeah,
Along that.
but along your property line.
yes.
Yes.
On the property.
Yeah, so you put the properties all in that same zone.
I guess if I.
And we have a precedent for this because of the Bertrand building, where there was a line going through buildings.
Oh, really? Okay.
And some years ago, but I don't remember when, but it was before COVID, we approved the change of that line. As it turns out, the county hasn't put it on their map yet, but they know now that this is something they need to pay attention to.
And interestingly, the Hamlet residential part, so that places to the north, has never had residential buildings in it. It's always been the library and the agricultural barn, and then the edge of the funeral parlor. You can just see it just cuts through the edge of the funeral parlor there. So we're just really trying to, we call it an anomaly, not because we're trying to whitewash it, but because it is an anomaly. And we would like to, because this is mixed use and it is housing and commercial together, that can't exist in Hamlet residential, but it can exist in Hamlet commercial.
Exactly.
So it just means the whole thing is much simpler.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to put a residential back here, if it's a mixed use for the whole project. Mixed use is only allowed in the Hamlet commercial district. That's one of the key reasons why we're trying to move that line.
Move on to more technical things.
Barry's your turn.
Let's go up, I don't know if you have to put online, but screenshot.
I've got that. I want to be on the-
Tuesday. Move on.
Document.
That's an existing. Everybody.
It's like running water. It's like running water.
That just shows the. Excuse me?
This site plan.
Well, the sheet 2 is just existing. So sheet 1 is the actual proposal.
Okay, I'm gonna bring it up.
So, just to give you we have it over here too. So the central driveway, you can see in the photo. Yeah, the central driveway that goes into the funeral area is gonna be eliminated. And a lot of that pavement in front of the barns, and between the barn and it doesn't look like anything here. But anyway, going to the paper.
Okay.
We're gonna eliminate a lot of our impervious area in the front.
This
So
is
that
what you're looking at, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, so that whole green space in front of the library is gonna be expanded out across the front of what are the barns now. So it'll the driveway will be eliminated, some of the pavement there, so that whole front of the property will become green space. And then we're gonna use the other driveway that you can see there to the left, and then bring it around to the back with parking in the back. Now, that parking in the back, some of that is already paved.
That's this right here.
Yes, that would be the,
Oh, wow.
that would be the main entrance. And that, in the back there, some of that's paved, and of course, we'll have to expand it, some pavement. And you can also see on here the proposed structures all the way to the left there, the 2 units behind that residence.
So these two new houses.
Just press that
Hold on,
button. The top button.
here we go. No.
Just
There we go.
It's a little hard with the white background.
yeah, it's probably good.
It's not, yeah, it's not.
Okay, what are you trying to show?
Well, those 2 buildings right there, they're the residents.
Okay.
These are the new residential.
Moving my little cursor around on.
And then over in the center of the building, that big orange square, that's gonna be new construction, it's gonna be the one building reconstructed, just because of its condition, that's the one that sits on top of a stream. It's a stream that runs right under the property. And then you could see going to the right more, the other orange area, that's the addition that would be put on alongside the barn, which we used to as some kind of a cafe or something. So some of the issues we have is we have a wetlands in the back. You can see the green area there.
Yeah.
up to the higher left area, that's an existing wetland, and it's fed by, probably about 20 acres of area, to the west there, that flows into it, and then it basically, excuse me, basically bleeds under the, what would be the funeral home.
Yeah, I'm just showing you the way that which doesn't mean that's exactly where the wetlands
So
are.
we actually had it flagged by a biologist and we surveyed it, so
Way
it's,
to do it.
it's pretty accurate. We also reached out to DEC and it's not regulated by them, they don't have regulating it, so it would fall under the jurisdiction of the Army Corps of Engineers and as well as the town. So, and there's another wetland to the north here, you see just encroaches on the property just a little bit. So that's another wetland, and the two aren't necessarily connected. There's the runoff from the larger one on the property runs down towards Tinker Street, it runs under that building, and then there's a large culvert that runs across parallel to the Tinker Street there. I think it's Tinker Street. We still call it Tinker Street now.
Tinker Street is, yeah.
Yeah, okay, Tinker Street along out under the library lane there into the stream.
Is this the stream?
No, that's a pipe.
That's a pipe.
Yeah, if you go right in the middle of the pipe, goes right to the green. See that, those double dash lines there?
Oh, that's the stream.
The stream is all the way, is off-site. Yeah, and you see that pipe you're on top of now? If you head back towards the funeral home? No, the other way, lower.
The pipe.
Go right there, that pipe. Hey, right there, that's a pipe you're on top of. That's a culvert pipe that picks up the runoff essentially from the wetlands and other site issues. Now, what we also have on the property is a fringe of the floodplain. You can see that blue line that kind of goes through the property, encompasses the wetlands, it comes back down. You see that heavy kind of light blue line? Yeah, that's more or less what we have.
Yeah, but all of Woodstock is in the floodplain if you look at certain.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, so, so we have to deal with both of those issues. I know that the town in the regulation have 100-foot setback to the wetlands. But I also see in the code that the planning board has the ability to waiver that, any encroachment in that area, which we would be requesting. And we would be, all the impervious areas we're creating on site.
How would you mitigate that?
We would mitigate by putting in bioretention basins and treating all the runoff from the site.
Because we can't add more buffer anyway, so.
Some of the existing parking lots already in the buffer, if my information is correct.
Yes, that's correct.
And there's a house in the buffer.
Yes.
Off the property.
Yeah, there's a lot of approach right up to the wetlands.
So I mean, basically the way our code works, if it's already there, it's there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's first time disturbing it, so.
No, but there is, I mean, when we read the code, I was just reading today, the planning board has quite a bit of flexibility on that. Quick here.
Well, mitigation is, there's several options. And we don't have the wetland bank anymore, so.
Well, so this has to do with non-regulated activities. And it's your wetlands law, section 260-34. Under D, it says here that the following activities may be conducted within a regulated area as non-defined in this chapter without a wetland and watercourse permit to the extent that such activities do not constitute a pollution or erosion hazard or interfere with proper drainage. Such non-regulated activities shall conform to all applicable ordinances and other laws. And what they're referring to is the list of activities that are regulated. That if this board decides that this is not creating erosion or pollution or altering drainage, then it could be interpreted as a non-regulated area, which I found extraordinary. So that's, and that's something, that we're not asking you to just ignore it. I mean, we're gonna, but, I think it gives us flexibility as an applicant to ask the board.
I guess
to
you
give
heard what I
relief.
said about the DEC, right? The new law for this year,
Yeah,
which any wetland in the municipality could go to a 500-foot buffer.
Well, that's very unique.
But
wetlands,
they've
Yeah,
annulled that right
yeah,
now.
I know that. I know, but we've been dealing with that for over a year now. With every single project we do, we send it to DEC and ask for determination.
Yes.
And they have
Let me
90
ask
days.
let me ask a couple of questions. One concern I have is parking lots are risk for pollution. So, I mean, just because cars are there and there's oil coming off and the rest of that,
Right.
so. The other is really a question for us, if you're going to put the lawn, basically, that front area into conservation easement, that's a form of mitigation, isn't it? Or could be?
Well, I would think so.
Well, you're supposed to be adding buffers to protect wetlands.
Yeah, that's
already.
That's already. But we're substantially.
But we're adding.
Yeah, and I might point out too that the parking lot areas, all those impervious covers, none of that flows into the wetlands. That would all be contained on site, it'll be treated, we don't show any of the design of that yet.
By the way you're building.
Yeah, there would be building, constructing what we call bioretention basins, rain gardens.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots
So
of
all the water,
under the
all the
DEC.
water would be.
Shedding away from
Away
there.
from the
In fact, we would have to pick up the runoff from that wetlands, and it'll be basically conveyed into that pipe that runs over to the stream, which all that runoff goes there now. But what we would do is we would treat the runoff from the impervious areas before it discharges into that pipe.
Yeah, this one here, this is the stream.
That's correct, yeah. That doesn't come on site, but there's a big area over here that drains this way.
Yeah.
And then it bleeds through, goes over here into this culvert and out that way. So we would put bioretention in some of these areas here, maybe here, and we would collect it all and we would discharge it into that pipe after we treat it.
So the floodplain, that's up to the floodplain administrator. I don't know if this is the current new floodplain or not.
So is it, I tried to research that. Is there a new adopted floodplain? I couldn't
There's a
find anything.
proposed one because
Proposed.
For 500.
because the DOT wants to raise the bridge.
Mhm.
Replace that
My
bridge.
data
And they're
is
saying
summer
because of the new-
2022.
The new weather forecast that they're gonna have to raise that quite a bit, which
Sure.
changes the picture. But we don't, it's not
Officially, yeah.
official yet.
Right.
This is the one
That may potentially
Now,
lower.
that white
the
line that I
flood
just put up there, that's 2022 FEMA data.
level. Right.
Yeah.
And that's all we have right now.
And that's what we have, yeah.
That's all we have right now, so
Exactly.
that's what we go with.
So that's
And it's actually an elevation, we have the exact elevation of that flood from the study, the current FEMA study.
So,
And I would suggest that they're raising the bridge opening, the passage, may very likely reduce some of the flood levels.
So that's the floodplain. The wetlands buffer, we'll have to do some thinking about along with Butch, I guess, but because it's already disturbed, the way I've read these things.
This red line is 100.
Yeah, well, because all this is within that, and it's already disturbed, we don't usually,
pre-existing
red line here?
non-conforming,
yeah. I mean,
pre-existing non-conforming.
It's a million.
Right. But I will point out we're expanding some of that.
Yeah, I
We're not
get
just
that.
staying within that
So
footprint.
that red line is the buffer.
Yes.
Yeah, the 100
Yeah,
foot.
that kind of agrees with my information.
Yeah.
Location, not exactly, but.
I wanna mention that they're working with SHPO. You've already contacted the Army Corps, right?
No, the Army Corps,
They don't have to.
if we don't disturb that wetland, we don't have to. do it.
Alright.
But we are
But
working.
they've done everything, I knew SHPO, I got all those notifications.
Yeah, there's a process with SHPO that we're working on, that, the concern. Historical.
The archaeologists coming in.
I don't know, I was gonna ask you that.
I'm sorry, what did you?
That has to do with SHPO.
We should talk about that.
The archaeologists is coming.
That has to do with SHPO, yes.
Yeah, well, there's two components, there's the archaeological and there's historical.
Yes.
So we have to evaluate both of those and convince SHPO what we're doing here is acceptable. Get a sign off from them, so that's still in process.
For the existing buildings that are. of
The
this
historical
level.
existing buildings, yeah.
Which is what the library, the lasher, and the barn.
Well, I think even the funeral home.
Oh, well, that's what I said last year, yeah.
Oh, electric, oh, gotcha, okay.
Have you talked to the highway department at all about
No.
this curb cut being?
Well, we've been trying to get those improvement plans from DOT, and nobody seems to have them.
Yeah,
They
well,
say it's a private contractor, there's a design build, and they haven't produced anything yet.
no, you know, we did from the center of town down the other way a couple of years ago, we did that whole part of the road.
Let me point out, this is an existing driveway,
Yeah,
and we're widening it.
Yeah.
but you've heard this talk now that, all streets are wants to put a walkway all the way from here out to Bearsville on that side.
Or bike,
Yeah.
yeah, do I heard?
Yeah.
Sidewalk.
I don't know what the status of that is, but it would go 20 feet further than the road.
Road overhead.
Yeah, right.
But we do cut the number of curb cuts down, don't we, from 3 to 2.
Yes, we have, we're reducing
In fact,
the
it's actually,
entrances. I don't think DOT's gonna have a problem with what we're proposing here, we have good sight lines, you know, we're controlling the access.
No, it should be.
It's an absolutely straight piece of road at that time.
Yes.
So I mean, and other than that, the technical part, when you get to it for us, of course, is lighting and all that stuff. Dark, you know, dark sky compliant and all the handicap.
We have
And I see you're keeping the existing parking, it looks like you're keeping the existing parking on Library Lane.
Yes.
Yes.
On the parking though, it says you're required 111, you're only gonna provide 72 spaces.
Yes,
So that's 30 less
which
spaces.
is gonna,
than
well,
it's supposed to have.
Lizzie, I think was talking about there's a provision we can buy some, is that?
Always
I'm not-
do that.
I'm not
it's been
familiar with
a
that.
real worry that, to me, about filling this place up with car parking.
Right.
So, you know, we want people to live there, and we want there to be dynamism, and of course, I argue, that the people that work 9 to 5, let's say, office hours, Monday to Friday, the people that live are there in the evenings and at the weekends, so you don't need to have the full provisions. I understand that there is a full provision. So my argument is, let's just not damage the site too much, and if we must put in more parking, then we'll do it over the canal, and we'll buy spaces, or whatever it is we're allowed to
You can
buy.
always buy parking spaces in the cloud, we sell them.
Yeah,
I'd
we joke.
like to be
We
able to
joke, we're
say
full of jokes.
that the people that work here, they can walk from the canal.
Yeah, I was thinking to look where the Como lot is.
It's just.
Yeah, so we would be asking for a waiver from some of the parking, and I think, you have some divisions here where you won't have peak use of all the particular uses at the same time, so there would be, some shared parking. Right, we have a reason, if you look over here, you show how much.
I mean, are you looking at
anticipating.
assigning spaces to the apartments and all that?
I don't know. how would you
Well,
do
the housing over there probably, yes. We've tried to make this as attractive as possible and to hide it with fences, hedges and trees. But it is obvious that the people that live near the parking spaces will use those parking spaces.
How many, what's the thought for how many families or how many apartments or how many, what's
This
the
will
thought?
be 2 apartments and this will be 2 apartments and they'll each be 2 bedrooms.
There's
So-
parking for these residential units right here.
And in the funeral home, isn't there?
So there's already 2 families there, and that will become 3 families, and that's their parking there. Can you see that one? They're just on the west side of that. And this parking here in the old cook barn, some of that is going to be unlikely there, just because it's so tight in there, but we have allocated 3 parking spaces at the backyards here. And there's also parking here. The reason we pushed this so close in the big car park is that it's walkable.
We push the parking back here so far.
Yes.
So this existing building, you're gonna get rid of this?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the poorest quality building. It's the one
Yeah.
that we live in and
I
work
know.
in,
I
so
know the
you're welcome
building.
to come and see us. We're actually working in the old environment room at the moment. And in fact, I'd love to invite you all down. I've been able to invite you personally.
Oh, the one on this new building, that's gonna be ruined.
So we need to do something with that building, and it makes a lot of sense. One of the reasons that building is in such poor condition is because there's a stream that runs underneath it. So originally there was just one barn that was next to the stream, that's where they were washing the apples, and then whatever reason, they then built over the stream and then again, so it's 3 buildings joined together with.
Oh, it's here you're talking about.
Yeah, and so that building, the existing funeral house, all into funerals, is kind of moving and very cold and damp. So we've commissioned Joseph and his colleagues to build a new building there. And our vision for it, I'm not sure that we've made this happen, because we're doing this backwards, but our vision is to make that a showcase building for green technology and green building techniques. So to talk particularly about affordable green building, affordable housing in green buildings, but also other aspects of that, like the building science that you need to build really highly insulated massive houses, and the sort of materials that you need. So that one's coming together, and we think best way is to not have it over the stream, so we just moved it slightly to the east.
One question, Barry, I can't remember the status of the land that the library owned where the old laundromat was, is that been
They still
subdivided out?
own that.
Or do
They
you
still
still
own
own
it, no, they still own it, and we could, if pushed, ask them to sell it to us. And that would be, I think, 4 car parking spaces.
Parking, yeah,
Solomon, was that
parking.
4 spaces?
We were at 4 or 5, it was.
4 or 5 spaces if we
Yeah.
had to. The only reason we've not is it's really poor quality land and it's on the edge of the stream, and if you park a car there, there's a
Yeah,
high stream, it's.
yeah, we had issues with that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
Not much you can do.
that's not in this plan, so.
No.
So planning board and applicants, we have asked our attorney John Lyons to help us with this application, and we've also pulled in Nan Stoltenberg, who we worked with before for our planner, and that's the 2 we're starting with. So we need to take $10,000 escrow from you guys, so they can look this over and then report back to the planning board.
Before we move on away from that,
Okay,
before we move on away from that property that used to be the laundromat, you would probably want to move the zoning line to include that too, wouldn't you?
We
Or
would
doesn't
have
it
to,
matter?
yes,
It's only gonna
yes.
be parking.
Yeah, we would only be parking, that's the only
I
thing.
think
we
it's
ever
just
said.
a lot right here.
Yeah,
So what was the zoning on that?
I'm not sure if that's,
It's, right now, it's zoned residential.
So does it matter, is?
No, I don't know if it does, but I just thought I would ask the
Oh,
question, since
yeah.
if you were to require
Yeah,
it,
that was a picture.
it might make sense to have everything be,
If it's only gonna be parking though, that
Doesn't-
really doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter, okay.
and as soon as I get the check, I will get the whole complete application to both, so that you can get back to the planning board with it, and then we'll bring it back,
that's a good idea.
and then we'll bring it back.
No, before that.
As soon as I get the check, I will get all the information to John Lyons and Nan for them to do reports. I usually give them about a month turnaround, just to have some time to dive into it. Nan's great, she just writes us that whole thing, we'll go over it and bring it back.
And then, of course, we have to do a secret
Absolutely.
for both projects.
Yep.
And
We
find
took
out-
that
You gotta
on.
do two
We have
secrets.
submitted the beginning.
Yes.
One secret would change the zoning line, the other.
No, it would be
No,
joint.
they could join, it'd be one
But,
secret.
okay.
Yes,
so join them
it's-
together.
It's one secret for the whole thing.
Okay.
That's how the town, yes, and, yes, but we're starting with lawyer and planner and everything. Town board gave us, seal of approval and agreed with us running with seeker for both
So
items.
this board would declare themselves lead agency.
We are,
They already have,
So you already have.
we have not
we
yet,
haven't done before.
but we will, yes. I was waiting for you to get here and get escrow and do it all officially.
So you're gonna do it tonight?
You wanna make a motion tonight for that, or?
We can.
Yep.
Wanna make a
Just-
motion that we're declaring lead agency?
We can notify all the other involved and interested agencies.
Yep.
So if they got any feedback, we can hear from
Okay, I
them.
make a motion to declare the Woodstock Planning Board the lead agency for the
Home security.
regeneration concept project.
So moved.
It's a mouthful.
Members?
I'm gonna pick up these additional lots, which at the moment I don't have separately identified. The library,
I'll work on
the
that.
library lawn and the lecture,
Notification.
so that all of that is in my,
Yeah, so you have it, if you've got it surrounded.
because I don't have anything more recent than July, because they won't grant it.
You know, I'm not sure what we submitted, but you can keep this, piece of paper here, but I think we submitted all this electronically
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, well, that's why I had it up.
you see.
But Barry, one other question, when it floods and rains, obviously this gets,
Yeah,
are you
it's a
guys
flood.
gonna do
You
something?
know, we've actually done some test holes around, and there's a high water table there, and I think it's directly related to the stream, and as the water comes up in the stream, the water table comes to the
It
surface.
was a problem in the
Oh.
library.
Up and down.
So we have a lot of landscape plans to
Alright.
mitigate with rainwater gardens and.
Yeah, very gravelly.
Am I allowed to invite you to come and
Saturated.
see it?
Slowly.
Sunday, all the site visit, we do it all the time.
Yeah, I'd love to invite you to come and see it, because that's really the only way to get your head around it.
I'm sure at some point they're gonna wanna do a site visit too, that would be the whole board, you know, and everyone come, but anyone's welcome to go, Lizzie's very, very gracious.
Lizzie, Sunday.
Oh, and on Sunday, yes, as part of Earth Week, we have a tour. We start at 1 o'clock in the library, and we talk about the plans, including the landscaping. And then at 1:30, we will walk around to show the inside of the building. So you're all welcome to join that. That's a public. We're doing as part of Earth Week.
Okay, well, I have Ron and Barry. It's unlisted and type one, right?
Under state.
And the secret is unlisted,
Okay.
and the tweaker is type one.
Okay. Speaker,
Sounds of Woodstock environmental quality.
Okay.
Okay. We could.
And as soon as you get that report from Nan and then John Lang, you'll forward it to
of course, I
Melissa.
yes. John may not, he may just sit kind of in the back and just be there at this point, but Nan will be the important one just to start.
Okay, and then you anticipate should be a follow-up meeting?
Yeah, and then, yeah, absolutely, and then so once we can fight that up,
And then this is.
we'll all come back and I'll give you guys all the time to go with the referral,
Yeah.
and then we'll bring you back and we'll talk.
15
Good.
Definitely the site visit.
You know already.
I do.
Double that.
What's that?
Oh, and the-
Okay. We want to include everybody that possibly interested.
Do you want me to?
Yeah.
Can you,
If anybody's gonna show up.
you wanna email me?
Or interested agencies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember.
Some of that's listed in the FAF.
Okay, because I know the town board did, that's why I was kind of asking.
I think they're just on
So yes, let's ask everybody. We'll
We'd like
talk.
to-
Don't go away on it, we'll talk.
I'll do it by email. But I just have a question on the secret process, maybe you know already. If there's, this town has their own process and then the state has a process, do they combine somehow? or
No, it's not a
just
separate
internal?
process, it's a single process.
Okay.
The tweaker just has more limited regulations.
Yes.
So is there 2 negative decks?
No, the
No, it's
single
always
negatives,
one.
it's one.
Okay,
We take it as a whole.
okay.
All right.
Okay, yep.
You're hired.
Good.
Very good. Anybody need this paper?
I don't think
Can you
you
at
want
least
this, that's the
give me one?
existing
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Joseph's coming back.
We have left this Bricks Road, yeah?
Bricks Road, if you would, Judy.
Okay, so.
It's all right.
And,
Yeah.
one question for the board,
This is the sculpture.
Reed from the tree committee has suggested that
Hanging matrix.
other boards, like the planning board, look at this proposed walkway from Woodstock to Bearwood.
Yeah, I sent you guys all that.
So I don't know if you guys wanna put that on the agenda at some point, or review what they're talking about.
You know, it might be a good time to talk about it with the web, when we do our May 7th, when we do our, I'll add it on the agenda.
Let's do it then.
Sounds good, right? Because then it would be kind of a meeting of the minds.
Because even Barry says that they don't know what the state's doing.
I know.
No,
We're adding
we didn't know what they were
it.
doing this week down at the corner of 375 until.
It's
until
site
the
plan
businesses couldn't
review
get
number
people in the
26
store.
0311B.
And that is that's the sculpture.
Yes.
So we have a motion, we need a motion, I'm making a motion to approve the draft resolution.
Layer second.
Second.
Members?
All in favor?
So yeah, so I think that's good. May 7th, we're doing a workshop because I'll be away the end of the month and we're meeting with WEC. WEC's all new at this point, so I think it's good to just kind of put us all together, but we'll do a couple of things. We'll
Because
throw this
this,
DOT
this,
stuff on
this
it.
walkway is,
It's huge.
it's
It's
complicated.
big, significant, yeah. And I think that's close enough. So we don't have a meeting until May 7th. So May 7th is our next
May
meeting.
7th.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And- Yeah, all right. Dismiss the meeting.
A motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.